You're listening to The Kelly Slusher Show with your host, Kelly Slusher. Hello, everybody. Hi. Thanks for joining me again for a fun-filled podcast episode. I don't know. Hopefully it's fun. It's going to be the way it is what it is. It's fun for me. I have stories. I'm not doing my sketches like I want to do, but whatever. Like I said before, you know what? It's so much is going on in my life that I'll at least keep these up and just tell you stories. And I think of silly things all week long, and I take notes. And so it is what it is, you know. I'm just keeping this going. And then it's fun. Like, I remember I had said something like to myself, like, this isn't what I want it to be. I want it to be a certain way. So I stopped doing it. I didn't do it for like a month or something. And I was like, something's missing in my life. And I was like, oh, gotta do the podcast. Oh my gosh. I have so many notes. Like, if I skip like a week, I'm like, oh, I'm behind. Some of these things aren't even funny to me anymore. Okay, I'm going to say this. Last week, I spilled some tea, or last podcast episode. That's why you got to listen to all my episodes, because they all tie in together. It's like a story, you know. You're kind of like experiencing some of these, like some highlights in my life that may continue. I don't share everything, of course. I have to have a private. There's levels to me, but I'll share. You know, it's just the way it is. If you're in the public, I don't want the whole entire world, because it goes out to everybody, right? To know every little detail about me. Who would want that? Not even your real famous people that make even talk show. People don't tell you everything. They tell you surface stuff, you know. Anyway, so last episode I was just really triggered, and I mentioned it, you know. So yeah, you're gonna hear me spill some tea sometime and like tell you some things. But I was really upset about this girl because she had done something, and we had gotten a little riff in this place that I work, my weekend bakery job. And, but it turns out, so yeah, listen to that episode. I'm not gonna tell the whole story, but, turns out that this girl ends up being, she's training to be a defense lawyer. Well, my respect for her just went way, way up because I had made assumptions. You know, you shouldn't make assumptions. Making assumptions of people will make an ass out of you and me when you assume. But, so I was like, oh, that's kind of, I mean, for one, I was like, oh, them people like to fight. Okay, this is like going to be an endless battle with this person. I don't like to fight, but I am more of I defend myself. And I'm, you know, feisty. I'm very protective of myself and of other people I care about. So, you know, I'm like Mama Bear. I decided, I was like, okay, I was rude to her. If someone had talked to me like that, I probably would have been like, I wouldn't have reacted the way she did, because she actually listened to the episode and hear what she did. But anyway, so my energy definitely changed towards her, which I think is really interesting, because it's the only thing this has changed is the way my perception of her. So this is like so crazy. I was thinking about this, like our perceptions of people, like how we interact with them, can affect the way they feel. Like we have that much power with each other. Like if you don't like somebody, you can feel that. And if you're not fine-tuned, like I know when people don't like me, and I'm very fine-tuned to that. You know, not everyone's as sensitive to like the world. And then some people are, but like, you know, anyway, so she could probably pick up on this, especially if you're trained to be a lawyer. They teach you all kinds of stuff. Okay, little side note. If I wasn't this super uber creative person, and I wasn't like, you know, the person that I am, and could actually go to law school, I think I would make a really good lawyer. So I actually am into the law thing, like, believe it or not. I'm going to mention that to you, but I find it fascinating, like how I don't know why, but I like to know what laws and rules are. And I think I'd be a really good lawyer, maybe a judge, you know, but I even like looked into that world. I'm like, could I go to school to do that? Boy, I'd be good at that. And, it's so tedious, and I couldn't sit through so what I've learned it's just so much tedious. You're going to sit there for hours and having to read boring text. No, that's not me. I'm very colorful. I need to I do this podcast. No way. I'm very creative and goofy. There's no way. So anyway, yesterday she was there. This had been 2 weeks later, and it was different. She actually, I guess I had more respect for her. So anyway, so it changed. So everything got better, and we actually had a very pleasant exchange because someone had ordered a cake through her, and then I didn't have the information. I'm like, I got to actually go talk to her now and get this information. And because I was like, hey, the cake is ready. And she was nice to me, and I was nice to her. And I was like, a little butterfly, just a little love, just bubble just bursted into the world of we can get along, because we're probably way more alike than, we probably are more alike. And so anyway, I'm like, oh no, she probably feels like I think she's cool. I have so many stories. Okay, that's that. Wrap that up. So I didn't want anyone to be concerned about me, because I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to beat me up. I basically thought this chick was going to beat me up because she's really intense and she's bigger than me, and we don't need that. But we're cool. So, okay, this is crazy. This is the part that I really am like, gosh, how much do I tell you guys? Because I have this, I don't like to share, but I think I'm going to. But let me throw in some jokes before I tell you this story. Okay. Let's talk about this. So I learned this recently that the vanilla extract was once made from beaver buttholes. I'm not even kidding. It was made from the rectum of a beaver. Who's going around sniffing beaver buttholes to be like, you know what, this could make a very good imitation vanilla? Because vanilla bean it's expensive. Probably one of my favorite things is vanilla. As a flavoring, it just makes everything. It makes everything better. It's like a hug. Vanilla extract is like a hug. Cinnamon is too, but this is a different thing. It can really bring a recipe. Almost all recipes have vanilla extract in it, by the way. Not all of them, but a lot of things do. So it's very expensive. Vanilla bean is very expensive. So they're like, hey, let's do imitation vanilla. Let's see. This wonderful, lovely scent, a butthole of a beaver. Yeah, oh, you're right. That's right. When I was hanging out near a who's hanging out? Was this maybe a taxidermy guy made the suggestion? Who would know this? How did you get that information? People did some weird stuff. We don't do that now. I don't know what imitation vanilla is made from, but don't even use imitation vanilla, because who knows? I don't use imitation flavoring or ever. Everything I do is organic, made from scratch, especially at this job that I have, I've learned how to do everything. We don't take mint extract, which there's really nothing wrong with it, a nice organic mint extract, but I will take mint and I will, do it in a certain way so it flavors from the actual mint leaf, which is kind of cool. Something I didn't know how to do before I worked at that job. So yeah. So that's one thing that's funny. And then, okay, here's another one. What if your in-laws were outlaws? Okay, there's this thing that's going around the grocery stores now. I notice it's because there'll be all of them at once. There must be these charity campaigns. They're okay, now it's time to get a bunch of money from the grocery stores. So they do that thing where would you like to round up to say yes to no violence? And, okay, I guess yes. What do you say? No? That'll be $74.98. Would you like to round up to say yes to no violence? I'm yeah, it's 2 cents. Why not? But when it's that'll be 70, and I'm saying 79.01. Would you like to round up to say yes to no violence? It's almost a whole $1. Okay. I don't want you to think I'm a bad human, because I think in that moment, aren't we more concerned about what we look like in front of the clerk to say no? Does anyone say no? I bet you 90% of people say yes. But then I was thinking, what if someone was the clerk's okay, that'll be $70.98. And it's like, and then the guy's like, or the girl, they're just like, do you have any brochures? Like, who am I giving my money to? Oh, and then they're looking around. They're, it's a good organization. It's, it protects, women from violence. And no, I want to know. And so they're digging around like for papers and clipboards. And they're like, well, you know what? I don't have all the details. It's okay. It's only 2 cents. No, I want to know. The line of customers and like they're just looking through the paper. Okay, here it is. And they finally find it, and then you go, they're not getting my money. Oh gosh. Okay, so the last week, 2 weeks ago, when I was really triggered by that coworker, I had to go to the store afterwards. I don't think I mentioned this on the podcast. And I like popcorn, so I bought bulk popcorn, and I had it in the bag, and I was putting it on the conveyor belt, and there just, all of a sudden there was a hole in the bottom of the popcorn bag, and like kernels, popcorn kernels go everywhere. I set it down and it just flies everywhere. It's like on the conveyor belt, on the floor, extending all the way out, and it was kind of a lot of people were in the store too, so it was like, oh no, that moment of being like, no, what? And I was super tired as usual. And I just kind of like look at the clerk. I'm like, what do I do? And he's like, it's okay. And he comes around and he's like, starts to like, I think he had a little hand broom. Whatever he had, it was good. And it was sweeping up. And he's like, go get some more. So that I go get some more and I come back. And he is almost cleaned up. And then there's still like all in the aisle. And then I was like, I'm like, see some lady with a push broom trying to like flag her down. Like, it's like, why can't I just have a normal life? Like, it's like, no, there's nothing normal that happens in my life. Like, why am I always, it's like, oh, being the fool again. And I'm like telling customers like, sorry about my mess. Sorry about my mess. So I've got, don't slip on those, because little popcorn kernels could be like little teeny wheels. People could slip. So I was worried that people were going to hurt themselves over my silly popcorn. So anyway, we got it up, but it was, this is one of those moments you're just like, no, why? I drove past this business the other day, and it said, it was one of those places that always has a new business in it. You think the people that want to invest in a business would not open a business in a place that always never succeeds. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I'd want to, like, well, there must be a reason, and maybe it's a bad location, maybe it's hard for people to get to, maybe it's just jinxed, whatever it is. Maybe we shouldn't spend thousands of dollars to open a business in that same building that no one's been successful. These people decided that they were going to open a business. This business is open, called Extreme Hummus. Okay, I need to go to their website. I might darken their doorway to check out their extreme hummus. Like, how extreme can hummus be? Is it just catchy? Is it just hummus? Is it like super duper spicy? Are you eating it like in an extreme way? I mean, come on. And that whole trend of things being extreme is kind of faded, I think, at this point. Like, there was that time where everything had to be extreme. Extreme bowling. Extreme hummus. Extreme horseback riding. Extreme driving. Extreme podcasting. Extreme refrigerator. Extreme socks. Boy, is that an extreme plate? I don't know. Just why? Why do people have to be so extreme? You know what that is? That's anxiety. Anxiety hummus. That's what that's what I think of when I hear extreme. I think anxiety. Here's a fun event. Let's make it anxious. Anxiety. Anyone that has like anxiety, that anything extreme, they're probably not going to be participating in that. Extreme cola. Extreme bungee jumping. Extreme. Why? What is that? That just seems like a bad, it's almost like there's people that are like, let's decide on what people are going to be thinking and doing, and let's add that into the to the world, and it's going to pop up everywhere. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to get to the point of the story. But let me tell you this first. What about pickles in a bag? Pickle in a plastic little bag. What about that? Why does that exist? I can recall kid self probably had one, because I can remember eating one time in my life, and it was once. It was gross. I don't know how that could ever be delicious. There was a time, I don't think, it may be in other parts of the United States, but I don't think it happens anymore, where there'd be like pickles in a barrel, like liquid, and you would like open the barrel, and you probably had tongs, but did you just use your hand and just pull out a pickle? Just get a pickle. Hey, go, Bobby, go get us some pickles. Go get some bulk pickles. I'm going to go get some barbecue sauce. Go get some bulk pickles, Okay, mama. I think it's like that. But since that whole like thing happened with the bugs, the thing that happened that we all lived through, that one thing, that horrible thing, I don't think they do that anymore. Okay. So here's my story. Ooh. This is the part. I do not know what to do with this. I feel traumatized. I went to bed thinking about it. And I woke up this morning and I was like, la, 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 thinking about my day. Oh, it's a day off. I love Mondays. Mondays are my happiest day. Mondays are like my Saturdays. So I have a little there's a job that I've had, a little side hustle. And it's one of those jobs where like, they only want me because I'm very reliable. I'm very loyal. And I have like a handful of these, like only you. And I'm like, when I don't want to do this anymore, I don't know what you're going to do. You're going to have a major breakdown. It's okay. But I have a handful of these type of jobs. And they bring me a great little side hustle, great little income. And so one of the ones that I have is a vacation rental up in this area that I live. Oh, and by the way, there is they started doing some tree work outside. So you might hear some weird stuff in the background. That's tree work, They love to do those tree work things where I live. Okay, so this vacation rental that I've been there I've been working with them for about a year and a half. I'm kind of like their liaison. No, I go and like, I do the turnovers for when guests check out. And I also will go meet with like the internet guy or like the plumber or like anything going on, because they live like, 3 hours away. And so it's been this, it's kind of like a nice little, I do it a couple times a month. It's not a lot, but I guess in the summertime I can get really busy and make me go crazy. Anyway, so I have spent a lot of time in this place, and, like, they pay me if I'm there like 3 hours or I'm there 8 hours. Like, it's like they just pay me like by the job. So it doesn't matter. Sometimes if I'm really tired, you can hear the chainsaw in the background. So sometimes if I'm like, let's say I'm like, I'm tired, I might kind of just sometimes like take a break and just sit. If it's been like a long week already, and I'm like this, because it can be kind of exhausting to do these like turnovers too, because it's a lot of work. So, I'm quite familiar with this place. Okay. I'm quite familiar. Like, it's almost like a home away from home in a way. Like, I know the owners, and, they're not like best friends or anything, but we've got, I know them enough, and they know me enough, and they trust me. And it's like, we have a good little thing going on here. And sometimes I have to go take the garbages out, and they just pay me. It's like money for me. It's this little like flow of income. Like, sure, I'll go do that. Oh, ka-ching. No, but it's true. I always tell people, like, always get have extra multiple streams of income. I think is really important. Never rely on one thing. If you want to be, it's like my independent contractor mind, always having many ways that money comes in, income makes life a lot funner. Plus, I'm more of an entrepreneur thinking kind of person. Anyway, so So this place I'm very familiar with. I'm there a lot. So the other day I was there, and there was, I'm out, by the way, it's in the woods, and I'm by myself out in the woods. There are some surrounding houses, but the properties are kind of far enough away from each other. And there's this game room, this garage that I walk. It's one of the first things I do. I just go make sure it's like looks good and it's clean. Okay, it's in the garage, and then it leads to the laundry room. The door goes right to the laundry room. So I go in there. I'm like, okay, straighten it up, and then I walk out, and I always close the door and lock it. And that's always my kind of routine way to know that okay, that's done, that's locked. I check the back door, and I saw that there was a deadbolt, and it was locked. Okay, it's locked. And so I walk into the laundry room, I lock it, close it, and then I go do something else, and then I come back, and that door that I had just locked was open. Like, it was as if someone hadn't closed it all the way. And I'm like, no. Absolutely no. I don't do that. I know myself. I didn't do that. Freaking out a little bit, like, how in the world? And so then, like, I almost text the owners and just be like, I just, like, want to just say this to you because I don't understand how this could be possible. It's just me in here. This would be like somebody else is in here. So it freaked me out, but like, I don't know, those things, like you can trip out a little bit or you just keep working. I'm like, okay, that was just weird. People make mistakes. Maybe I just did forget. Very unlikely, but maybe I did. Maybe I just wasn't thinking. So I keep working, and then like a little bit later onto the thing. And so I hear another noise, and I'm like, well, that freaked me out because what I do when I'm there, I think I'm alone. So I blast the music, and it's really like this long L shape. It's one story. It's like this L-shaped house. It's really long, like 4 bedrooms. And so there's like the back of the house. So I'll be in the back of the house working. And then I always come back, the kitchen is by the laundry room and the living room is in that section, and the laundry room leads to the garage. So it's like the way it's set up. So when I heard the second time I heard the noise, it was like a thump. I think I heard something that was completely out of like any kind of explanation. Turn the music off. I look around the house. I don't see anything. And I'm getting more freaked out at this point. Like, okay, I'm here alone. I don't like this. I do not like this. And so especially if I go back to the other end of the house and finish up what I was doing, coming back and like, I look around, there's tons of places where there could be somebody, but it didn't make much sense because I'm like, no, they have cameras. They have like the Ring cameras. There are multiple cameras outside. They're not allowed to have them inside. So they're outside. And so anyway, I finish up that particular turnover and I finally leave. I think that really didn't quite think much of it. I get this message the other day from the owner because she came in to do something. She came from the Bay Area to go. Sometimes she likes to redo some things, or they just go there and sometimes they stay. But she was just going there briefly, for probably a couple hours to I think there was a clogged. Yeah, we had a clogged toilet, so she came and fixed it. And she sends me a picture of dishes in the sink, and she's like, "I'm really kind of concerned right now because there's dishes that were left in the sink, and I know that you wouldn't have left these." And I saw the picture. I'm like, absolutely not. She's like, you never do that. We know you well enough to know that you're not going to leave dishes in the sink. I'm like, nope, those weren't mine. It was a random mug that her husband had left once, and I kind of I'll stick it somewhere in the back of a cupboard because it doesn't match all her perfectly matching stuff. All of her dishes and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, that mug. I was thinking, I haven't seen that in a long time. And then, but both the dishes, it was just a cup and a plate, but they were both clean and they were just sitting in the sink. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. Oh, and then she said that there looked like someone had been sitting on the couch because there was a bunch of crumbs. And I was like, yeah, absolutely not. I definitely don't let that. I'm definitely no, there's going to be no crumbs on the couch. Absolutely no. Because I'm also really into, I do like the idea of hospitality and that the baking thing kind of ties into that too, like this presentation to people, like you're presenting something beautiful. So this, I always see that as that, like guests come in and they get to see this beautiful, clean, pristine, beautiful home when they walk in. So that's like, there's a thing that I do like to do. So there's that, and then there's like, the baking thing is kind of, they're very similar in that way. You're presenting something beautiful to people. So I was like, yeah, no. She's like, I know you wouldn't leave crumbs on the couch. She looked like someone was sitting there. So then I started looking into it, and I'm like, this isn't adding up. So she said that the back door looks like it's locked, but you can actually push it in. And I'm like, okay, a little side note, a little frustrated, thinking if you knew it was like that, why didn't you fix the problem? Why wouldn't you fix the problem? That's silly. You're incredibly expensive home. Then you're living 3 hours away. You can't just rely on cameras, because cameras can be dodged. You can just go underneath you can just kind of, Anyway, so I looked into it, and there's this thing called phrogging. And it's a thing. Like, these people live in vacation rentals, and they actually live in other people's house. It can be in your attic. And a lot of people make, I think, almost like a lot of ghost stuff that people hear could be people phrogging in your attic. Their whole thing about the phrogging is about being really secretive, and so never getting caught. So you have to do things that you're never seen. Like, that's just like the thing. Like, you don't get sloppy. And so my conclusion, and I'm about 100% sure now, there's someone phrogging up in this vacation rental. And it makes a lot of sense, because this is an area where there's not a lot of places to live. And these people, and she's one of them, this couple, they buy these nice houses and they renovate them, and then they turn them into vacation rentals, and there's a lot of them. So it makes the housing market here even more sparse. Even without that problem, it's just a small place, but it's very desirable. A lot of people want to live here. But finding a home is not so easy. So if you're the kind of person that would be okay with sneaking into an attic and just living in an attic and living like that, and then I'm even thinking they could be like someone that they could work in town and go frog at night, and the other thing, I think the phrogging thing has something to do with like leaping from home to home, like a lily pad or something. I've read multiple reasons why they call them froggers. But it's definitely a thing. Like, it's a full thing, and it's different than squatting. They make themselves not known. I think squatters don't try to hide themselves. Like, this is like secret. So basically, when I saw that door was open, and I heard that the thump in like a few hours later, I'm pretty sure someone was coming and going while I was in there. And they have to, and the only way that they can get to the attic is in the laundry room. So they'd have to go out that door into the garage where the little game room is, and then they have to go out and come, and then go up. So they'd have to hop on to the dryer, which is one of those really tall, what are they called? Upright. There's a name for them, but the really tall dryers. So they have to hop up there, and they'd have to like get in there without me knowing. So you're like, these people are like were you trained to do this? Like, you're experts at this. And so now I'm at this point where I'm like so freaked out, because I just think about how long have they been up there? 2, I thought I was alone. So I thought I was safe and alone, I could just, because I would, this place has been kind of like it's like 5 minutes from where I live. It's just like, I know it so well. And like, to have people occupying, and who knows, I'm like, they probably know me, they probably know about my vehicle, they know when I'm coming. You're able to look on the Airbnb, VRBO websites and see when, for these particular properties, when guests are going to be there, so they know. So they probably saw that there were no guests for like maybe a week and a half, and they had left their dishes probably sloppily. They had probably washed them and dried them. They're going to come back and grab them, thinking that they were safe. Well, they just got themselves caught. So now I'm in this situation where I'm like, do I just walk away from this and say, you guys, this is not cool. Like, I do not want to go back. I don't want to be part of it. I'm like traumatized. It's creepy, because I had heard other things too. Like, they've heard things before. I've heard things. And then it starts to get really psychological. Like, it's a psychological thing too. And to try to explain that, like, I started to get paranoid, like, even at my own house, like, I start closing all my windows. I started feeling like kind of afraid, and I don't normally have that, I don't really feel afraid, but because I've been kind of, it's like deception, like deceived, like I don't really think that those people are dangerous. Although if you go to YouTube and you type in that phrogging thing, you'll get a lot of like really scary murder stories and stuff. And I'm like, no, this is not that. Because they would have, if it was going to be far dangerous more than it is, they would have already, I would have been, there would have been plenty of opportunities for them to harm me or whatever. But I'm feisty. And I am on my toes a lot. Like you're like military people, like if you're ever trained in the military, like you will never see a military guy sitting with his back to a door. By the way, the guys that back their trucks up into the driveway, like a parking lot, they'll always back their trucks. And that's actually a military training thing that they teach you to do, because you always keep yourself like in a position of safety. And so you always kind of know what's going on. I feel like I kind of have that in me anyway, like always have an exit plan in my head, always like staying safe. And I think that's just like living in big cities and just kind of being street smart and always being like, yeah, you never know, you got to stay safe. So, but I'm not sure I don't know. I'm going to get a hold of her later and just kind of like, okay, we got to talk about this. Cause I now kind of don't want to go back. And, there's like going to be some guests. There's going to be a turnover coming up in the next week. And I'm like, I'm not doing this unless she's going to be with me. And then it's like, do we call the police? And then I'm thinking, gosh, do I call the cops? Like, I kind of feel bad because I'm like, well, these are obviously people who don't have a home. So they're finding ways to survive and live. Do I really want, because then there's like if they did get caught, they would go to jail. Like it's illegal. So they would be criminals. Are they criminals? Are they just people that just need a place to live? So there's that like, how much do we do about it? Like, I almost want to like put a sign up like on the door that just go over there and say, we know you're up there. Please leave or we'll call the police. Like give them like maybe an out, even though like the people that they may not agree with that, but I don't know. Part of me wants to just be like, please leave. Just leave. Get all your stuff and leave or the cops are going to come. And even like, I don't know, this is such a creepy situation. I feel like I'm such a most of us like trusting people, whatever, but it's a thing. And then all these questions, like how do they go to the bathroom? What if they have a job and they have to leave at a certain time, and also they're being guests. Like I'm not comfortable with the guests coming and there's people up there. Like it's so creepy. So yeah, I'm not quite sure but I'd like to not get, like, I felt like it was, like I said, psychological. Like I started getting paranoid last night when I was home and I'm like, are they in my attic? And then I'm like, I don't have an attic. Like literally I live in the tiniest little house and like the ceiling is like, you can see that it's just the roof. Like it's not like there's nothing else above. It's tiny, but you never know who's living in your house. Like that's so creepy because their whole thing is to be secret. Don't ever let anybody know. So anyway, I'm sharing that because I think that it's good content. And there's like certain things I'm like, gosh, how much do I talk about in podcasts? I'm like, you guys are going to hear everything, not everything. Like I said earlier, like I don't share everything, but like certain like things, like when you're like the themes of my life, you're going to probably hear some of this stuff. So anyway, I'm going to edit this and it's already like, this is a little bit longer podcast than I normally have it, but that story was a little bit longer. Okay. I hope to get another podcast out next week, give you update. The decision I made. Oh, and I was going to ask a friend if he would come with me and we were going to I was like, let's have a stakeout. I'm going to have a stakeout. And sit like on the top of the driveway where they couldn't see me and just see if there's any lights on because there's no one in the vacation room right now and just see if I see any like flashlights or anything or lights, just sitting there watching TV. I mean, very easily could just be like chilling. Like if they were like sitting on the couch with the crumbs, I mean, they're obviously watching TV, sitting in the living room. So anyway, okay, I'll let you guys go. All right, talk to you later. All right, bye.